And this year we have 5 Dragon Wings, and we're powering 4 major camps, 330 people, and we've been running on renewables.
Hi, this is Zena Harris.
And I'm Mark Rabin.
Welcome to the tie-in.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the tie-in. This is a special edition, Burning Man 2025. This is kind of a continuation from my Burning Man 2024 edition that I did, and just having a lot of fun being out there, hanging out with friends, and also just meeting the coolest innovators with the best technology out there, really trying and pushing the limits of what's possible in the harshest environment. This is also an edition of our sort of from the field segments, which we go out behind the scenes and really nerd out with the doers that are making real change happen in the field, and again, pushing the limits of what's possible. And I feel so blessed to be able to call many of these folks my dear friends and to be alongside them on this incredible journey. So this episode is really the culmination of years of work that you'll see and you'll hear from our incredible guests. This is not a pop-up. It's not an accident. These folks are incredibly talented and are working around the clock to bring their innovations to the Playa. And we all know that the Playa is truly one of the most inhospitable environments, not just the heat. This year, there was rain and wind, and folks had to build and rebuild their camps, and Burning Man was late to start. I heard something really great. It was like the longest burn and the shortest burn all in one, because everybody came, set up, and then the wind and the rain came and blew everything down. Some folks didn't recover. I was driving in at one point, and I saw folks driving out fully packed up, and this was just like Sunday. So interesting, never a dull moment out there. Also, one of the greatest proving grounds for solar and battery technologies. So we're going to start here with an interview with a gentleman who Jimmy rigged a Cybertruck with solar shade and batteries to power his camp. And we'll start with that, and then we'll come back after that interview and introduce the rest of the interviews.
I was just biking by visiting a friend's camp at Hair Salon.
Yes,
and someone pointed out this amazing looking integrated contraption with a Tesla Cybertruck and also solar shade structure.
Indeed.
Who am I talking to?
Ben Seiger. We're a small startup, Halo Hybrid Solutions. We're an electrical contractor, but we have a technology focus. So CS major, just happened to be an electrician going through college 20 years ago, right?
I love it.
So ended up having, last year we came out, we actually towed our 30-foot RV with the Cybertruck. But the challenge we had is you had to stop every about 100 miles, and so it just took a lot of effort. So did it, charged on solar, and did a reverse course. We're about 600 miles from Salt Lake City.
Right.
This year we decided, rather than going that route, we did just tow with our F-150, but we still wanted the Cybertruck, but we're using it what Tesla calls their power share capability. So this is vehicle to home. So what we have is, if you come all the way this way,
V2X/H/G/whatever.
Exactly. So this is the V2H capability specifically. So you've got the Tesla gateway as well as their Gen 3 wall connector. This is just, in layman's terms, it's an automatic transfer switch with a microgrid controller.
Yeah.
So all of this is what would be considered AC coupled. The challenge you've got is the Cybertruck does not have any way of taking solar as an input.
Right.
So we go back the other direction.
Right. So you need to somehow invert the DC to AC from the solar array and put it into your panel area there.
We do indeed. So my prior role, I was rep for Schneider Electric for the West.
Yeah.
And so with that, one of my peers at Schneider actually is a startup CEO as well. This is Reon, R-E-O-N. They have a hybrid inverter that's just their mobile power station. So what this is a 7.5 kW hybrid inverter with 10 kWh of battery energy storage in the bottom of it.
Nice.
Commercial spec gear.
Yeah.
What this allows us to do is we have 2 solar arrays. The one that gets all the attention is the one on the back of the Cybertruck.
For sure.
This is just a bifacial. It's about 3.8 kWp on just a ground mount array that we just happen to line up to the vehicle bolts. On top, that's another 5 kWp of flexible solar panels.
Yeah.
Those are what you would use for a marine environment. So both of these come back together into this hybrid inverter, and then we charge back over to the Tesla gateway.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's so cool. I just think that like eventually every shade structure becomes its own power plant.
Yes.
It has to.
The big challenge we have is the physical weight.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's, yes, we take this, it definitely helps in the morning and the afternoon, but the flexible solar panels are significantly lighter.
Yeah.
So that's
but,
the
but less
combination.
performant or
They're 500 watts a piece. The challenge is cost.
right.
So
yeah.
you're looking
So are
at,
they Merlin Solar? Or
they're not. They're a Chinese spec.
Okay. So
I don't remember the exact
they're
name.
better price though.
Exactly. But still, they're $5,000 worth of flexible solar panels because of the way their backing works.
Yeah.
But overall, so essentially what happens is during the day we charge the Cybertruck, and then at night, right as that hybrid inverter runs out of battery, it automatically transfers over. So you have a very momentary blip, less than a second, and the entire camp then runs off the Cybertruck for the duration of the evening, and then the next day we charge it back up again. So the Cybertruck has 123 kilowatt hours of energy storage capability.
Yeah.
By comparison, there's 10 kilowatt hours in that mobile power station.
But how much power can that deliver? Do you?
11.5 kW.
Okay, so is there an inverter on board? That's how you're doing that?
Right. So what happens is a lot of people look at electric vehicles and say, hey, I've got an at-home charger or a supercharger. That's a little bit of a misnomer. The charger is actually on the vehicle itself, right? And so what you have is you have a wall connector that has just a 60 amp breaker that allows us to distribute power out to everything in the camp, but then the actual inverter is on board.
Yeah.
Same thing if you do a supercharger, that's a DC connection.
Yes.
What we did last year is we had all of the power was all DC power distribution, called what's called Class 2 power distribution. But we had to do a different architecture this year to bring the Cybertruck into play.
Right.
So it's kind of play. We did it different last year. This year it's kind of experimenting.
I mean, this is the beautiful thing about Burning Man, right? I mean,
exactly.
This is a playground for this thing. All the innovators are here. I mean, this is what gets me jazzed about all this stuff.
Right. Try something new, play around, break it, fix it, break it again, fix it again. It's like, all right, it's like
exactly.
a learn.
And if it works here, it's gonna work somewhere else.
Exactly, because there's nothing like having a nice weather event come in when you're setting up. It's like, all right, if I can figure this out in that environment, what can I take back to the default world and apply in real life?
Yeah. Where can people find more about you and your business?
Certainly. So in the default world, Halo Hybrid Solutions or halohybrid.com. We're going to look, we focus on as an electrical contractor where we do commercial charging. So this might be a supercharger for Tesla, or this might be, say, the charging solutions you have at a hotel. That's what we're doing, the cash flow of the business. But what we're really getting into is the microgrids. So this is more the data center style scale, where we can now take the same lessons learned on these more, approachable projects, and then we can apply those to the microgrids for the data
These are
centers.
the nanogrids or whatever.
Exactly. But it's the same thing, right? It's all CAN bus, all the same language. It's just a larger scale. So
Love it. Well, keep up the good work, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers.
All right. I hope you enjoyed seeing that really innovative mashup of a Cybertruck and solar and batteries and solar shade. Go Ben Seiger, and thank you for showing us your amazing innovation. So I love that. There's so much innovation on Playa. Lots of folks sort of jimmy rigging, all types of different contraptions. I don't have enough time here on this episode to show all of that stuff, but there was all types of stuff like batteries in, a shift pod with solar panels and solar panels on trucks and vehicles, and homemade systems and, janky batteries like cobbled together. But it's just awesome and everybody's got some take on it. And lots of hybrid stuff too. So Sunbelt was out there with hybrid generators, which there'll be some photos here at the very end. But yeah, lots of good stuff going on. So the second part here, partway through the week, got to go on the Abraxas art car for a renewable energy tour on Playa. And I just love being on, these tours because you get to meet so many like-minded people and folks involved in getting Burning Man off of fossil fuels. And yeah, it's just an incredible community that's really that deeply cares about the work that they're doing on Playa, both innovators and folks at the org. Abraxas takes us around the Playa to go visit Solarpunks, the Burning Man org, Microgrids, Dragon Wings, and many other projects that are out there. But in this edition, those are the three that we'll talk to. So I hope you enjoy. The sound quality is a little off because I was recording just with the microphone on my phone. So yeah, hopefully you can bear with it. And then we're going to have deeper dive interviews with Solarpunks and Dragon Wings. And then we're also going to have a special interview with Chickawowow and their solar shade structures. Stick around.
It's the harshest environment in the world, arguably, for events. And so we came out here in 2022, super naive, got a bunch of prosumer gear. So it wasn't like professional gear or anything. And we kind of hacked together this very manual microgrid and decided to do an entire camp that was run fully off of solar. So no diesel backup, nothing like that. We erected a 50 kilowatt array at that time, but about 250 kilowatt hours of storage. And it was the hardest year, hardest burn. Everything went wrong except the power. Like we had 3 ship deploys, like 80-mile-per-hour winds and more, but our power never went down. And we actually had more than enough power, not just for ourselves, but also for our neighbors. And so we actually started giving away free clean energy as well to artists and more that were coming over and wanting some support. And then since then, we've taken all the gear back to LA. We started doing what we call creative community microgrids and giving away solar energy for free to creatives and nonprofits and communities. We really love community gatherings and supporting that. And also just game planning on how we expand this further beyond just our own camp. And so we put our heads down, and over the last 2 years, it's been a journey to come back to the Playa and see how we could do this in a bigger way. And wanted to really show how powerful the technology was now, where it's not just powering our own camp, but we actually teamed up with Mayan Warrior here, and now are fully powering their whole camp infrastructure, including ours, fully off the power of the sun. So what you see over there is a 300 kilowatt array, which, by the way, so in 2022, it took us about 3 days to put up a 50 kilowatt array. Now, once everything's site marked properly, with just 2 people in a forklift, we can deploy a 50 kilowatt array in just a little under an hour. So you see, it's amazing technological curves, and it's definitely something to celebrate. What you see over there also is about 5.4 megawatt hours of battery storage. So right now we're generating anywhere from 1.5 to 2 megawatt hours a day. The equivalent of that is basically above like 50 US households, the average use per day. And we have more than enough energy. Actually, we had enough solar that we were actually curtailing the solar. And originally we didn't want to just give it to EVs. We wanted to save it for all the mutant vehicles and the e-bikes and art around Playa, but we just ended up having so much that we ended up also charging EVs as well. And so over there, what you see is our solar station, and that is a spot for people to come charge their e-bikes, charge their phones, borrow chargers, batteries as well for art. All of it's fully powered off of the sun, and it's also educational as well. There's different quotes from like Buckminster Fuller to diagrams about decentralized clean energy and just how important it is. Like beyond sustainability, I think what really gets us hyped about clean energy is that it is actually a really democratizing force. We're not just talking about equity for the planet, we're talking about equity on a human level, and we really wanted to also use this project to show the power of community-owned clean energy generation.
Call this the unicorn. For those technically inclined, it's around 30 kilowatts DC, a little bit over 100 kilowatt hours of energy storage. We have 3 of these that power the man, the temple, including the builds, and about half of Center Camp's power. For perspective, this is about 1/10 of what Solarpunks has out there in the thing, but it's something that really shows how we can quickly deploy a system that can provide a lot of power. The ones here are on distributed grids. The one at Center Camp is really interesting because It's a collaboration with Sunbelt where we're really looking at the ways that you can integrate intermittent renewable sources with diesel generator grids, which people haven't really done it. People just say, oh, we need this much power, let's put a giant generator, right? And they're just like blasting, these things. So we've been able to really work with them. Those technologies have now been, through the advancements at Burning Man event, we've been told by Sunbelt that they've deployed over 1,000 microgrids based on the technology and the learning and the R&D that they had here. So we can see how these sort of things all work together. I also want to point out to the right there's those yellow things, that's called the Solar Library. This is also something that the off donation or net zero whatever supports. And what they do is they charge little batteries. The artists get a card, they check it in, they pull out a battery, they charge our piece. When it dies, they go in there, do it, and they swap it. So this is like a test pilot between that sort of different way of powering these like sort of temporary communities where you can eliminate generators. I think they're powering over 19 or 20 art pieces right now with this thing, all for free. It's a gift from these folks. So is there anyone from Solar Library on the thing? They're amazing people. Look them up, Google the thing. It's really transformative stuff. And I think
I have a question.
You've got a question, yes.
So every year you pack up those solar panels and put them in the container with all the batteries?
Yes, that entire thing fits. It's designed to be packed and played, and traveled.
Yeah.
So everything fits in the 2 containers. Pack them up. They can usually put them up in like a day, right? So that's the idea. Easily transportable, easy to put up and down. That's a prototype. We have just over 300 kilowatt hours of solar in the aggregate around here. We have Scarabs, the Burning Man project's powering, I think now also separately 19 art projects. If you see those little portable trailers that run around, we call them the Scarabs. And then we have, I think, 3 or 4 other smaller prototypes that we're looking at testing for other different use cases. So if anyone has specific questions, they can come. I won't bore the whole group because the music sounds better than my voice. But happy to answer any questions if people want to talk tech. All right, back to the music. Thank you.
This could potentially be a real way that we can power a majority of this city. And I think that is the thing that we really want to show, is that we can power an 80,000 person city with all renewables. So shout out to Solarpunks for stepping up the game too.
Yeah.
We keep on doing a couple more.
Yeah, Solarpunks.
Really in 2029, 2030, we could have a majority. Right, we really need about probably 20 megawatts of stuff out here.
Yeah.
Right, so portable systems. Let's go.
Hey, how much capacity total here?
We have about 125 kilowatt solar, 150 kilowatt with another 75K surge, so 225 kilowatt surge, AC 208 in kind of 5 sections here.
And batteries?
Batteries is 75 times 5, whatever that is.
How do they hold up in a windstorm?
Great. So we've had them out in over 45 miles an hour. We've had RISA wind studies done on them. We close at 20, 23 miles an hour sustained, because that's where construction stops and stuff gets really messy anyways. So it takes 4 minutes to open or close.
Yeah.
Does dust affect the effectiveness?
It can, a handful of percent, but they're pretty clean now. A little bit of rain, but also closing them knocks a lot of the dust off.
What battery technology?
That's electric vehicle battery technology.
How awesome is it?
I think it's kind of fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we landed on Monday at build. We dropped all 5 on Tuesday. We unwrapped them on Wednesday, and we're powering the camp by Wednesday night. So, awesome.
What's the size of the battery?
Oh, they're 75 kilowatt hours each. And they're also awesome.
Abraxas tour, just a little flavor for what's going on Playa. I had the opportunity to do a deeper dive with Xtina and Corey from Solarpunks and also Dr. Ryan Wartena from Dragonwings. So here you go. Hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Xtina with Solarpunks.
Corey with Solarpunks.
Amazing. And I see that you guys have one of the largest solar and battery arrays on the Playa. Can you tell me a little bit about Solarpunks and what you were doing here at Burning Man?
Yeah, absolutely. So Solarpunks, we started off as just fellow friends in the creative fields trying to decarbonize. Realized that there was nothing turnkey out there, so got a bunch of batteries, inverters, solar panels, found an electrical engineer, and just started figuring out how to construct solar-based microgrids, and decided to lean into the civic experiment of Burning Man. It's a temporary city for 80,000 people. And in 2022, we actually came out here with a 50 kilowatt array, about 250 kilowatt hours of storage, and ran a full camp off of solar. And in the last few years have been figuring out not only how to bring that impact off Playa by giving the energy for free to different creatives, nonprofits, and more, but also how do we scale this further at Black Rock City, because a lot of the implications of what we're doing on this experimental project has resonance also in the real world, especially in the work that we come from and do. So this year we're presenting Black Rock City's first utility scale clean energy power plant. We're really excited about this. It's about 300 kilowatts of solar, about 5.4 megawatt hours of battery storage, and we're supplying free clean energy, not only for our own camp infrastructure, including RVs and more, but also for Mine Warrior across the street, Trench across the street. They're a camp of about 300 plus people with RVs, air conditioning. They're the biggest theme camp on Playa, and they are fully running off of clean electrons, no diesel generators. And then across the way, we also built what we're calling Solar Station. It's basically the clean energy alternative to Hell Station on Playa, which supplies all the diesel for the camps and the art cars. We're supplying free solar energy for mutant vehicles, e-bikes, phones, and art projects as well. So that's been running 24/7, and yeah, excited of this first of a kind project. And I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
That was very comprehensive.
And also off Playa, though, Solarpunks is gaining a lot of traction as well. So you guys are providing clean energy for artists and projects of all kinds as well.
Yeah, so just before the burn, 2025, Solarpunks was granted our 501c3 status with a mission of replacing fossil fuel machines in creative industries. So we have a couple different programs, kind of our bread and butter program, Clean Creative Community Microgrids, that Xtina has really spearheaded, where we use the batteries from the system that we did in 2022. We give them to different artists, filmmakers, community groups, anybody and everybody that's independent and needs free energy or batteries. So we do that pretty consistently. And then we have a couple other initiatives in the works as well. Working on a clean energy resilience hub in Los Angeles in the wake of the LA fire disaster with the Los Angeles Equestrian Center, Los Angeles City Recreations and Parks, and Scale Microgrids. And we're in the process of filing for a big grant to try and do that. That would be kind of like a hybrid stationary/mobile microgrid prototype, something.
Where you could charge your main batteries off of clean energy to be deployed or wherever they go.
So they'd have a solar and storage hub, or a station as we call it. And then there would be some kind of like charging infrastructure there, and it could be a home base for mobile battery systems that then get charged with the clean electrons and that are available as like resilience for disasters, but then could also be made available to, Warner Brothers is right across the LA River right there, and all the other kind of commercial. So to like aggregate the use cases, the deployments to help create better economics to like further this technology.
Totally. And and you've been working with the Black Rock or Burning Man org. Is the vision then to have many of these things spread throughout the city? It's still early days, of course. This is a first of its kind prototype, but the success of this, where do you see it going?
In this moment, we see everything being successfully demobilized and getting back to our beds. But the vision, it's been a big few months, a big few years to get to this point. We have worked with the Burning Man project, specifically the Regeneration department, in placement and emergency safety team and the operations team and the executive team to make this possible. it seems like it's been pretty well received. We don't know exactly where it's going. The big vision, I guess, would be to continue to grow the size and scale of our clean energy power plant. We're kind of right at 2 and K on the top, so the kind of pie in the sky vision would be to like extend our solar array around the outside perimeter of the city and to kind of spider this network of transmission and power distribution to power big theme camps, especially the high profile biggest loads on the Playa. And we think that what we're sitting on is at least in the running of one of the most scalable, viable, feasible, tangible systems or approaches to help Burning Man reach its 2030 sustainability roadmap.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I mean, it's definitely more than just to power the large theme camps. I think in general, what we're seeing is that there is more and more batteries making their way onto Playa each year. The challenge is that they're typically backed by diesel because there's no regeneration strategy, right? And so we're still operating in a fossil fuel paradigm in that case. And what we identified here and that we're working on this technical demonstration of is really at the utility scale level, which enables us to actually up-level all these battery systems that otherwise would require diesel to be refilled. Now we have solar, and this is a very modular type of system. There's different ways we could deploy it, and it's not just for large theme camps. It's for mutant vehicles. It's for the citizens. It's for art projects.
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting that a couple of people have said is like if you look at the solar right here, it's like, oh my God, that's so much solar. This is about half of it that you're seeing right now, but it looks like it's like, oh my God, this is so much solar. But then by the other side of the coin is like, this is only how much solar it takes to power the largest theme camp at Burning Man. So, we see this work being part of this kind of larger mobile battery technology, clean energy movement. Shout out Mark Rabin, Portable Electric, for being the OG. Shout out Ryan Wartena, Dragonwing. Shout out Neil Overdrive. Shout out DPW. Shout out George Reed, Regeneration. Shout out Level, Placement. Shout out so many people that have been a part of this. So we're definitely trying to push the envelope, do some new technology demonstrations, show that we can and should go big with this, because there is this kind of predisposition that solar is limited, and we want to power more than an F&B stand or something. We want to take the big loads, the big stages, the big art cars, all that kind of stuff.
I envision this going into quadrants essentially, and then having clean distro throughout, right? And camps can kind of sign on or whatever, so you can start to build out one zone at a time. But everybody, so I've heard quite a bit, people oh, well, this is a lot of land for the solar, right? And I was like, it's not that much land for 300 kilowatts, because you could position this in a way. I don't know if people commented on oh, well, it's so big and so heavy.
Not really.
No?
I can take it.
Sure.
No, go for it.
No, you got it. I mean, well, real quick, we are generating close to 2 megawatt hours a day. It's quite a lot. That's over it's at 1.5 megawatt hours a day. That was the equivalent of 50 U.S. household average energy use, and we're not
one of
talking
these
about
huge diesel generators that's underpowered for sure.
Absolutely. So this isn't just for mine war. We had more than enough solar that we were curtailing actually, and we were able to provide charging for EVs as well, which we weren't originally planning on doing. So there's a definite
I saw a Cybertruck
abundance.
parked there. There still is.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to cover the real estate?
Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely a general sense, I guess, that solar power is a low density power source, and I guess in some environments it is. But when you really look at it, covering rooftops, covering ground, land is definitely not the limiting factor out at Burning Man here. We're in our entire hub is less than an acre, and there's infinite space. So if there's anywhere that's great to try this out, it's here. And we're definitely taking utility scale assets and system components that normally sit for 10, 15, 20 years. So of course there's innovation and integration and technology that needs to improve, but the core thing is I don't know, it's just not that big of a deal.
I agree. I agree. I think the thing is it scares people a little bit because they don't understand, like that. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here. I think diesel, at the end of the day, is still just like set it and forget it and then run out of gas and fill it up.
Yeah, I mean, our entire system is based on diesel generators and refilling and all the infrastructure around gas and oil and the subsidization around that, like our entire society. And like we have a lot of respect for that. Like oil and gas has built our modern society, and we enjoy a lot of the fruits of that, That said, electric systems are so much more efficient.
Yeah.
And so much it's just it is a superior technology. We're hitting the point on the economic cross curve where they're finally becoming really tangible. And it's people don't think about infrastructure is supposed to be invisible. It's behind the curtain. Like people don't think about use a generator because that's what you've always used for all of time, So of course, if there's something new, it's going to be uncomfortable. Any new technology is always that. And I think even you look at someone like David Shearer, who's been working in solar for 30 years, he's still saying it's early.
Yeah.
So it's really early, and we're definitely on that
I think it's now though. I don't think it's too early anymore. And I think you guys have hit it right at the right time.
I mean, hopefully we'll see over the next few years. It'll be interesting to watch this in a few years and see where we're at and what's going on. But we're definitely swinging for it, and we feel a responsibility to do this work because if we don't do it, who's going to,
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to illustrate a little bit further with just a couple, data points. Since we started doing this a few years ago, the cost of battery has come down 30%.
Yeah.
And then back in 2022, when we first deployed our 50 kilowatt array, that took us about a few days to do. Now, once everything is site marked with the quick deploy solar we're using, it takes a little under an hour with just 2 people in a forklift. So we're definitely seeing exponential curves here that are really supporting this transition towards electrification.
Yeah, so just easy peasy. Layout, 300 kilowatts of solar, 5.4 megawatt hours of batteries, and off you go.
Just like that.
It's truly that easy.
Just talk me through quickly a few of the technical components at a high level, just to how this thing works.
Totally. So starting with generation, we have the 5V Mavericks behind us.
Which we are taking down already.
They're about 19 feet wide by about 140 feet long. I think there's about 90 panels on each one. They generate about 50 kilowatts per unit.
Yeah.
And we have 6 of them out here to form our 300 kilowatts of power. And then at the base of that, you see all the DC strings that Dave, Mr. Earthman, is working on there. That is our solar trailer, where all of the DC strings are then inverted into AC energy. Shout out
then it goes into the power
SMA,
hub.
Peak 3 Flex inverter, and our AC output there. And then you see our SP1 container, our power conditioning and distribution hub, that you can see the best 1 input, the best 2 input, and the solar input all coming in. We actually we do have a genset attached to the system as well for resiliency. So if the state of charge was to drop below X%, say 20%, it would automatically kick on, because if we didn't have the appropriate regeneration without having to do any kind of hot swaps. And then you have the 4 zones of output on the side, everything at 480. And then you can see that little office computer laptop room kind of at the end that you can go in, where we have all the metering, laptop, little air conditioned chamber. Because theoretically this stuff should be able, right now it's containerized, it's on kind of different pieces. We do think that the thing can be, exponentially smaller, more efficient, and can kind of all be serviced from the conveyance itself, including the Mavericks. So it comes up in the same form factor as any kind of standard entertainment production or live tour kind of setup.
And one of these units, one of these battery packs can power stages, can power
absolutely
huge events. I see something like this powering Coachella. This can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a lot of when we first started this work. There's not much load data. We were just in another talk down at Playa Alchemist, and someone was like, "How much? What's the kilowatts per person?" And we're like, honestly, like the load data doesn't even exist right now. So we're calculating that, and that was kind of humbling in the beginning that we really had to go bottom up with the data collection and the approach. But we did a lot of studies over a number of years to really validate and verify that the megawatt scale is truly where the action is to be able to powerful, meaningful, culturally meaningful, environmentally impactful results. So we are best agnostic, let's say, but we have aligned ourselves with the Tesla Megapack in this early phase as the kind of premier grid scale technology software platform best solution.
Which is what you're sitting on right now.
Yeah. Just to also illustrate further, like we did, as Corey mentioned, like a lot of energy studies early, including the Hollywood Bowl. So one of these units can power multiple nights at the Hollywood Bowl,
Amazing.
like without even needing co-located solar, without even needing regeneration. So these are all Lego pieces. It could all be deployed in different ways to suit the application, and we're excited. This is like the full system in effect, but in different capacities, whether it's a festival or like a one-day show, you might be seeing different parts at play.
That's
but
awesome.
Yeah, very modular.
Anything else? And then, where can we find you guys on
Find us at solarpunks.club, find us at energyclub.com. Just come find us through friends and the network. It's really amazing. Like, people just show up and just like are curious about what we're doing, and there's something really powerful about, like, because you just don't, like, normally, like, even myself, like, I didn't know what a kilowatt was, I didn't know what a kilowatt hour, I didn't know DC, AC, all these things, but there's something really like a light switch that goes off literally in people when it's like, wow, the power is being generated right there, it's being transported right there, it's being stored right there, and it's going right there. So, like, all of the transmission and distribution approach that we've had, we've really worked to make it entertainment industry or like off-grid expeditionary standard. So a lot of the crews, like, we don't want it to feel like some like crazy new technology. Like, people just want their power to work. They don't want to have to think about it. So it's kind of like our burden to get the heavy stuff done. We see a world where, like, this thing rolls up, it has a kind of production lead. We're introducing this energy production manager concept and a technical lead. It should really be sitting on a laptop. And then the cable can be run with festival labor and heavy equipment and site ops. And it can be safely monitored and controlled. But from like an entertainment production standard, it just goes on, and you just know that you've got enough power, and you have a nice little iPad that shows where you're at. Look at some nice graphs and sit around and watch the show and have a beer.
And have it powered by renewable energy. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Appreciate you. Thank you for all the foundational work you've done in this space.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ryan Wartena. A little update here on Dragon Wings. This is year 4 of Southern Beam's builds. Bringing Dragon Wings out to the Playa for the foamy homies.
This is year 4 you've had these on Playa?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's always been a plan to go ahead and help this village go ahead and go 100% solar, renewable as a demonstration for the 1,400 camps here at Black Rock City. And the first year we came and we powered the kitchen. The second year we came out and powered the tea house. The third year we came out and brought 3 Dragon Wings and powered, about half to 2/3 of the camp. And this year we have 5 Dragon Wings. There's 3 up here in front, and then 2 all the way out in the back. And we're powering this whole village, from the Foamy Homies foam dome to the kitchen to the foam dome sound system. The Tea Tigers tea house is down here. The time machine is right there. Zendo's camp, the soft landing group, their camp is back here, and the Heart Collective also. So kind of like 4 major camps, 330 people, and we've been running on renewables
For all those camps?
All these camps.
It's amazing.
Huge block, 5 Dragon Wings, years of not just like bringing the technology up, also working with the campers.
Yeah.
Right? Like when this was first introduced, it was like, no, don't take my 50 amp plug for my RV air conditioner.
Right.
But you know, we've introduced like other options, the swamp coolers, other stuff that also works really well. And that was the first year. Second year, people loved it because they got to like, you know, get powered by Dragon Wings, and they were like a little bit more ready. So that second year was like the first year. And then the third year, everyone's now coming with their own batteries.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's kind of dialed in. They're telling me about like how they've learned stuff about energy and how to operate, and this is great. This is a real life situation of living with solar battery. This is like how the future is. And now this fourth year has been really great. Tons of support from all the campers, the different camps. And you know, we have to do some things a little bit differently at times. Like maybe we have to not run so many air conditioners in the tea house. Maybe we figure out how to rotate air conditioning and hot water making. So yeah.
Are you metering everything? Or is that how you're getting all the data?
Everything is metered. And everything's going up via cellular, you know, low bandwidth, so we actually are getting data through on the cell network, which is kind of nice.
So so how much total solar do you have here?
We have 125 kilowatt solar. We have 150 kilowatt of 3-phase 208 power here. We have 375 kWh.
Thank you. 5 times 75?
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. I needed that. 375.
I heard that earlier on the tour.
Oh, right. Thank you. Yeah, and that's much energy storage. We also have a 150 kilowatt gas generator.
Yeah.
That we have hooked up in the back and being controlled with automatic generator start. So just dialing that in exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just like, obviously it completes the microgrid, essentially. If anything goes down, you've got the backup to supplement it, charge, whatever.
Charge, whatever. So this is, it's really nice. So you kind of want that backup. The world will have backups as we kind of transition, but we can also have additional Dragon Wings or additional batteries or additional electric vehicles here to go ahead and also provide that backup.
How important is it to have the buy-in of the camp and the support of the org right now? Because I know it's a time of transition. The org is keen on this. They're looking at this as pilot projects to scale. You know, how important is that play in this, or is this just purely an initiative from the camp? And
no, I mean, I think we've been working on this initiative through BlackRock Labs.
Yeah.
And I think the org has done its role also at like pushing its vendors for sustainable technologies and sustainable solutions. And because we do want to meet our 2029 goals of having this whole city, you know, fossil fuel free, effectively, or net zero carbon emissions. So, you know, Sunbelt's really stepped up. We've been collaborating with Sunbelt for a number of years here.
They've got all eyes on this stuff.
Oh yeah, no, we've done pilots out at, you know, big name events with them, and then also here, and it was wonderful. We had a detailed map. We landed our Dragon Wings in one day, and then we all got up early in the morning. We undid the Dragon Wings. Sunbelt dropped the distro, and we had like a microgrid, 150 kilowatt microgrid with backup generator going by that night. It was a one-day setup.
So you pull up one of these 53 footers
and
with 50 kilowatts. How long does it take to, once you pull this thing up, how quickly can you be generating solar and sending power out?
So as soon as we pull up, I can go ahead and activate a button and activate the power outlets. So likely there's already energy in the energy storage on there. So we can be within a minute or two providing power service.
Yeah.
Taking the tarps off, 2 people is about 15-20 minutes. We remove the straps, that's another like 4 minutes. And then we press a button on the front, activate the system, and then Dragon Wings will open in 4 minutes. And so what is that, like 25? So yeah, you know, you're well under an hour, maybe under 45 minutes to have a unit up.
Love that.
And so we had a crew of like 4 people out here, and so we can just go ahead and boom, 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 It was great. Dragon Wings this year at Burning Man 2025, the build week was kind of hammered.
Yeah.
With some big winds.
Like what, like 60 miles an hour?
You know, I've heard everywhere from like 75.
Oh, wow.
I think we definitely clocked 45, but then things got pretty hectic in those moments too. But it was great. I think we had Dragon Wings out to above 25 miles an hour. We've been training a new crew too, and how to go ahead and operate Dragon Wings. And again, it's been cool because it was like a one-day training, and then they could go ahead and do those operations, pull them in, and it was great. So power keeps running even when the wings are closed. Yeah. So wonderful. Actually, it still even generates a little bit of power too when closed, because there's still some exposure.
So talk me through. So you've got a major wind event. Do you pull them in anticipation, or is it a certain wind speed somehow that triggers something to pull it in?
So this is a important set of like field trials for us. Like one of the purposes of having all of these units out is to kind of really see where the weak points are, where the break points are, to really kind of push them to their test. So what we did was we went ahead and we left the systems in a manual mode, but we have a full auto mode where Dragon Wings will close at 20 miles an hour, right? And so we went ahead and let the anemometers actually go ahead and hit that 25 miles an hour, so we can actually see that would happen. Then we went ahead and manually closed it. So it
triggered an alert at the very least, and then you came. That's so friggin' cool.
I mean, like we have a lot of like the full. There's a full autonomous version of Dragon Wings, and a couple more features that we have actually developed now and ready to implement. But the rest of the software controls for the full automation, the how long, at what speed does the wind need to be, right? All of that's configurable for tiers of speed level warning, like and what time duration does it need to be at before it activates, and also what wind speed does it need to drop to before it, and how long does it stay closed.
And these trailers are stable, like there's no wobbling or anything like that.
We were wondering about that because we've deployed before a single one on a trailer in a windy area, and there was a bit of movement, and we did it here too. And what we've concluded is like it's actually better for it to be on a truck like this and able to move with the wind, as opposed to being bolted down to the ground. And those same forces are coming, and so they're all going to be going into the wings, right? It's like, it's a big square cube, but stuck. So I like this. We can get a little bit of flying action too. So
I love this. How many of these are there in the world today, and what generation are you on today? A prototype or commercial unit?
So there's now 8 out in the world, and one of them is our prototype unit, and that's we have a lot of interest. Not going to spoil the future news, but really, honestly, what we're focused on right now is perfecting the product. I think we have some really wonderful top tier customers in construction and automotive and events and heavy equipment, and our job right now is just to really like perfect and tune the product. This is our 3rd generation. Nice. We're ready to build. We have capacity to build 20 to 50 units a year. We also have like the looming investment tax credit sunset. So we're highly motivated to actually kind of step up that production.
Is that federal or is that state?
That's federal tax credit. So it's like
you have something in California too, right? That you can.
There's California, incentives. But that's also a very limited budget. But the federal tax credit, because we have 84% domestic content,
we get an extra 10% on the 30% tax credit. So a 40% tax credit is actually pretty
but
significant.
these are made in America. You said 84%.
Oh yeah.
And they're not tied to the grid. So you're still essentially just power services equipment.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So there's no really, I mean, it's just a generator.
It's just a generator that makes its own fuel.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of nuts. We actually have, this went through a process to be able to offer leasing. And we don't talk about money on the Playa, but I could do equivalents, and it's basically, you can get a Dragon Wings for the same as renting the generator without the fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you have to do the total cost of ownership.
It's lower cost than the generator fuel. So
I love it.
You know, I think
I love it. Ryan, these are great. So right now you've got, I'm just gonna zoom out, you can keep talking, but you've got 3 Dragon Wings here at the front, and then you've got 2 around the back.
Oh,
so
you know what?
Yeah.
Oh, I will jump in and say, like, this has been absolutely great. This is like this is a very popular camp at Burning Man. It's a place where you can get washed and foamed and dance, and hundreds, if not thousands, 1,000 people could be out here.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very hot. And this year, we had with the Dragon Wings with side by side and then one elevated. The elevated made a good shadow and shade for the stage up there, and then all the people, we probably fit like 500 people, 400 people, you know, underneath the Dragon Wings on both sides. It was like, it was great. People loved it. It was a much happier scenario being out here.
Yeah, you never have people hanging around a diesel generator like that.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
Man, there's still so many fucking janky, shitty ass generators on Playa. It makes me just like, I can't believe it. I still can't believe it in this modern time. But anyway, there it is.
I mean, things change. I hear they're not making the penny anymore.
Oh yeah, that's good. Who needs the penny? Where can people find out about Dragon Wings?
Oh, I think the Earth's internet, pretty easy.
Yeah.
Dragon Wing solar generators.
Nice.
You'll find us.
Nice. Available for your Burning Man camp next year.
Yes.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
How cool is Solarpunks and Dragon Wings? I love it. I love it. The future of Burning Man. Speaking of innovators, I really wanted to include Chickawowow camp in this edition because they're doing this really cool solar shade structures with modular battery systems. So I ended up doing an off-Playa interview with Chairman Bao, David Hua, and Marcus Paula, and they were able to really go deep with me, and we had a great chat and did a screen share as well of their work. And yeah, I just hope you really enjoy that. This is the third and last part of this episode. And yeah, we'll see you after the interview. Today we're here speaking with David Hua and Marcus Paula. And I was introduced to them just recently off Playa. And I really wanted to include them here in the Burning Man recap. So this is being recorded after Burning Man. But what they're doing is really impressive and actually solves one of the key issues around solar structures shade structures as solar generation paired with batteries. And I'm really excited to speak with them today. I've heard lots about them, and I worked adjacently with Camp of the Rising Buns a couple of years ago, and then also in 2019. So we're coming full circle here. So guys, thank you for joining me, and maybe just give a quick little background on the camp, about Chickawowow, and yourselves, and how you guys started to integrate solar into your camp.
Yeah, thanks for having us. My name's David Hua. On Playa, I go by Chairman Bao. We have been a camp for about 10 years. We started in 2014 with another sister camp called Titanic's End. And our whole goal is to gift Bao. There's these steamed white fluffy buns. We give out pork buns, egg custard buns, and red bean. We've been also fortunate enough to spawn off a number of camps. One that you mentioned, Camp of the Rising Buns, who use the sun as their inspiration to power their activities. So we were introduced to solar and sustainability pretty early with Rick leading that camp, primarily for ourselves. And yeah, it's been quite a ride, and really happy to be here.
I'm Marcus DePaula. I've been with BOW for 6 years now. And I'm primarily a fine artist. I've brought sculpture to Burning Man. I also used to work in the entertainment industry, and that's where I've brought sort of a different and some ideas from the world of event and concert touring and theater, temporary structures to Burning Man. But I didn't have a solar background. This was, a sort of continuation of the BOW sort of solar experiment, but really diving headfirst into completely rethinking solar on Playa and solar as shade structures as solar, and bringing some of the concepts from concert touring and temporary structures to the technology of solar that's been developed for like permanent install residential, and trying to make those two meet. Because we saw, I think in the last number of years at Burning Man, there's a lot of DIY efforts, and there's a lot of commercial efforts, but like there had been a gap in something that in empowering people who were up for a DIY challenge, but maybe just like needed some thought out tech. And so we spent that time, and now we're into year 3 of this solar shade structure system that we've built and refined, and we can kind of get a little around to that. But
Oh, I love it. That's great. Yeah, there's no question that the DIY is the name of the game, but it's also like it's so janky. Half the stuff out there, I mean, it's just like loose wires and cobbled together, and MC4s like half together. And so how have you guys taken that concept, or the stuff that's made for permanent install, literally 25 years on a roof, and made it modular and accessible to be set up, temporarily?
So really thinking about form factor and borrowing form factor ideas from, for me, it was, concert touring, right? Because for me, you think about the problem set, right, of concert touring is you have all this high tech equipment, but you're moving it every single day, you're setting it up every single day, and your labor is untrained and new to it. So it has to be in a form factor that's easy to push around, and easy to figure out with untrained and unskilled labor on how to put it together. So you have to really kind of take like, in an industrial design sort of approach to it. And in concert touring and staging, and even in TV and film, they borrow and use a lot of the same equipment. But so we decided to base the form factor around the touring case, which is available off the shelf, relatively cheap because it's made en masse, and easily adaptable as well because it's like basically plywood, veneered plywood. And so you can easily drill into it, screw new panel outlets to it. And so it was really easy for us to just like quickly build a solution. And so we were going to take off the shelf inverters and batteries that are designed for residential installation, and mount them inside these touring cases. And then what is also really important is the interface then. All right. It's like, okay, great. You mount this thing in a case, but then what do you plug into on the outside of the case? Like that has to be clean as well. So that's how we did the inverters and the batteries. Um, and then it came to solar panels, right? So solar panels for residential use, also at an industrial scale, are built very similar form factors, an aluminum frame, glass top, and but the railing is designed to be like permanently screwed into roofs and to struts that you would put onto roof. And so it took a little bit of like trial and error, but wanted to use components that were off the shelf that could just be bought from like a McMaster or even from Amazon, and to keep the costs low. And so, but to use concepts from staging and touring where you use trussing systems, which is like just pipe. And how do you get a solar panel to clamp onto a pipe? And then my other sort of design challenge for myself was, could I do it with no tools? And do it with no tools and with little risk to drop bolts, washers, nuts. Because if you do that on Playa, it's not the same as dropping it on a concrete floor in an arena where you can just pick it up. If you drop something, on the Playa, it's like someone's going to kick dust over it, it'll get lost, and you end up creating a lot of trash. So trying to find clamping systems that I use from their lighting clamps and truss clamps that are quick release, that you can thumb screw or twist around with your fingers or with your hands to clamp on to pipe, and then integrating and adapting it with an off-the-shelf solar clip, and putting those two things together. And then you have a clamp that can work with residential solar panels, but quickly put onto and rest onto 2-inch aluminum pipe that anyone can buy in bulk anywhere in the country.
Right.
So,
and most shade structures are a similar sort of like pipe and connector setup, right? We see it everywhere all over Playa. Maybe just before we get too far into it, maybe we can pull up some images just so people can get an idea of what you're talking about. Folks that go to Burning Man obviously understand what you're talking about, but other folks maybe it's non-burners, but solar aficionados. But I totally agree. And then, one of the questions that's come to mind after that pretty severe windstorm as well, right? I mean, I'd be curious to hear if you how your system held up with that. I didn't hear of any solar panels getting severely blown out. I heard a lot of tent structures and so on, but I didn't really hear anybody's solar system getting pummeled.
No, and frankly, it's because of the rigidity of these solar panels and also the weight. Like residential solar panels start at 50 pounds and go up to like 70 pounds. So there's already just like the element of gravity for their size, and they don't like billow. So when you're comparing it to like tarp that can catch a lot of surface area of wind and have no mass to hold itself down, it's a totally sort of different equation. And the way that we mounted our solar panels in our system I'm going to flip to.
Yeah. So this is a similar setup though to the Burning Man microgrids, right? The Burning Man org has their own solar. Yeah.
Yeah, but they use the T-rail and bolts, and it's a little bit more permanent of a installation. This is certainly meant for like a quicker deploy. And they have different constraints too, right? Like the Burning Man microgrids are out on open Playa. They're subject to even greater winds, and they're out there for 4-5 weeks sometimes too. So it's much a greater length and a greater exposure. So I can understand. But also people work with what they know too. So here I'm sharing. Are you able to see the screen share?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Yep. So we're just mounting and laying residential panels over an array of 2-inch aluminum pipe, and what we've done, we have a couple different like arrangements of this, but basically run pipe across shipping containers. So your shipping containers act as your support, at least your end supports. So reduces the amount of pipe that you need to set up there. It makes it super quick to just lay across. You create a canopy between your shipping containers, center set of support poles, and lay the panels on top. And also, so the horizontal arrangement of the panels also reduces the wind exposure. And so when your wind's cutting straight through, there's not much. So from a resiliency perspective this year, we didn't have any issues whatsoever with our solar array. And it was a big part of what made this year easier for us, and we could dedicate our efforts elsewhere. And this is because this is year 3, we've experienced rain, we've experienced wind, and having a completely solar driven power system has made it so we don't have to depend on fuel trucks for a generator, right? We don't have to wait for a generator to be delivered. This year, because the windstorm and the rain was early in the week, people didn't get their equipment delivered until later. So we were very self-reliant, right? This is like also sort of parallels to the real world, where to be self-reliant, you're not dependent on a power company. You're not dependent on other people. So the more and more that we can be independent, self-sufficient, it just like is exponential in the fruit that it bears for us as a camp, when every minute matters in our energy and our available time.
So no backup generation then, no backup generator.
We carry a couple little Honda 2000s just because the Playa is so cruel that if you bring a backup plan, then hopefully you don't need it. But we also have redundancy in all our systems. So our system's completely modular, where we have a couple inverters, and we have 9 racks of 15 kilowatt hour groupings of 3 batteries that make up the 15 kilowatts of power in each touring case. Let me jump to a picture of that.
Yeah.
It's a standalone structure. So this is so this is a different arrangement that we had last year. As we're playing around, we're like, what could we build with this pipe system? What are different shapes that we can make? What are the different arrangements? How much harder is it to make a custom shape versus just spanning between shipping containers or having a standalone upright and crossbar system? And then this is here on the left side, this is a 3-phase system that we configured for the mutant vehicle charging station. So each inverter acted as a single phase. So we have all these components, they're all these Legos, right? And we're like, okay, you just can mix and match them and turn them into all sorts of different stuff, which is great. And for this past year, we really needed it. We went in with a plan. We went in with a plan to build this again. And we didn't, because of the rain and the wind and our camp showing up late because of hard time getting in, because of having to focus on core infrastructure before doing some extras. We decided just to stick with laying things across the canopy and continuing the build across the canopy as just like, let's get up as much power as easily as possible. And so having that flexibility to make a change in decision and design on the fly was also like hugely valuable. So
you don't need heavy equipment, right? You don't need heavy equipment either to do this. And I think that's, other than moving the shipping containers in, right? This just requires ladders and some basic understanding of how pipe and clamps go together.
Yeah. So okay, here's a close up of like the touring cases with the batteries. So these are just like off the shelf home installation batteries on the left here. We stacked them 3. We kept it this size because these are about 100 pounds per rack component. So this is 300 pounds in this case. And that between 2 people is like the max, like anyone can carry by themselves, because we also didn't want to be dependent on heavy machinery. So trying to keep everything movable by 2 or 3 people and build it by 2 or 3 people was also like one of the core principles of design here. And then you can see like, yeah, how we integrated the connections on the sides, and in doing so in a cost-effective manner to keep the overall cost of this system low, but also durable and easily like reconfigurable too. So it's like, oh, we want to deploy a small microgrid over here, or hey, we're breaking down our whole camp, and we end up moving our sort of operations center under this tent over there. Great, let's just like grab a rack of batteries and a rack and a inverter, and then we can plop the microwave right on top of it, and that becomes the kitchen. And so
how many
this
of these,
way,
how many of these boxes did you have?
So we brought this year 9 of the battery boxes, which was 135 kilowatt hours of battery. And then we have this one 18K PV, and then we have like basically 4 of these 6,000.
Right. So this is just inverter box. So you had separate inverter box and battery box.
Yeah, but then what we also had was a hub that was basically a bus bars in a touring case with a bunch of outlets. So we could
all 48 volt
because so you can just like plug in everything together, and you share the AC, and you can share the batteries, and it becomes one big battery bank and become one big AC system. So then all the capacity just expands to the aggregate amount of all the individual components plugged in. And this worked really well because we wanted to have a system that could grow with us throughout the week. On Playa, you're like, I need something now, right? And you're like, okay, great. We can start with one battery box and one inverter plugged right into each other. And that immediately gets us power. But maybe it's just Hu and I for the first 3 days on Playa. That works. And then a couple more people start to show up, and it's great. Let's put up a few solar panels. Let's do the first solar array, and let's plug in a couple more battery banks. And as we get more people and have more time available or more man hours available, we build the rest of the system. So, that way we can have like this sort of growing of our city and growing of our system going together.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much for your time today and your insight into this excellent work that you're doing. And just I love this one on the side here on the right side, this solar shade. And I think we're going to see more and more solar shade on Playa, and love it. Yeah, keep up the good work, guys, and thanks again for sharing your insights. All right, hey everybody, thank you for making it to the end of this podcast, Burning Man 2025 edition. Wow, I just have to say that I am constantly energized and humbled and inspired by these incredible innovators. And, you can see it and you can feel it, like the amount of care and lack of sleep and just how much energy it takes to get equipment out there onto the Playa and make sure it works, no downtime. And they all nailed it. They nailed it, even with all the crazy winds and the rain and the heat and the dust. And so, yeah, kudos to everybody. And thank you so much for your generous time. What a year. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to come in 2026. The org is really pushing hard to get solar and batteries and other solutions out there to reduce the carbon footprint and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. So, and it's only accelerating. And every year I go, I'm seeing like an exponential increase in solar panels. People are cluing in that they can literally save money by not paying for fuel. So lots of good stuff going on, and also lots of hybrid. We're going to see like a battery with a generator next to it. We're going to see microgrids like we showed today. You're going to see all types of different styles of innovation, because it's not every camp that needs a huge 300 kilowatt solar array. It's like you can do a lot with a small battery and a small solar panel. There's even air conditioners now that are just super low power draw that you can really air condition your yurt or your shift pod. Yeah, anyway, awesome. Thank you everybody for being a part of this, and thank you for watching this. And yeah, hopefully this inspired you all to start to tinker around with solar and batteries and try to make your camp greener. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Our designer is Aaliyah Kane. Music is by Peter Chapman. Social media is by Picnic Social. Our editor and producer is Rachel Werble.